For now, it's only bullets and bombs heading that way.
Well, that report from Nick Beake. Let's go live to Amman in Jordan. Let's speak to Tamara Al-Rafai. She is the spokeswoman for the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees. And thank you so much for being here on the programme. Give me your latest assessment in terms of what your colleagues on the ground are telling you.
My colleagues are telling me a lot of horror stories. They're telling me about women who are pregnant, children with disabilities, old people, all of them not able to leave the north of Gaza as instructed. As a reminder, we are talking about an area where 1 million people live and where they were asked to evacuate literally overnight. It is just not realistic to expect that 1 million people are able to all leave and find shelter somewhere else. Half of them might have left in the last 12 hours because of the warning, but they have left in extremely dire conditions, and they have now arrived in the south of Gaza where there is no capacity to absorb them, not even in UNRWA shelters. We are now hosting more than 500,000 people, so half of the population of North Gaza, across our shelters on the Strip. But we are also not in a situation to be able to assist them precisely because of the lack of food and medicine and utensils and hygiene kits and even clean drinking water. Today, we are saying that it's a matter of life or death for many Gaza residents because they will no longer have access to clean drinking water within days.
You make many points, but let me take it in stages. You talk about the people who are simply unable to get out. How alarmed are you, given that Israel has repeated that basic instruction for everybody to leave?
It is just not, it is not imaginable to think that an entire population of half the Strip can leave. Now, with that, the call is for a return to respecting international humanitarian law. Under international humanitarian law, civilians should be spared. They cannot be targeted. They cannot be bombed. Civilian infrastructure, including the UN's, UNRWA's, our shelters, our schools, cannot be targeted. So even if people choose to stay where they are for various reasons, maybe they're unable to leave, maybe they do not want to be displaced a second time. So for all these reasons, we are calling on the Israeli Defense Forces to spare civilians and to spare the UN and humanitarian infrastructure.
In terms of the UN premises, tell me where you are, because, of course, we had the original deadline on Friday. Have the UN been attempting to move their own staff, to get people out of any of their premises or shelters? Has that actually happened?
My colleagues, the international staff of UNRWA, who was based in our headquarters in Gaza City, moved to the south, to Rafah, to our logistical base. We have been very concerned and very worried about the rest of our colleagues, our Palestinian colleagues who are from Gaza and who, for a variety of reasons, might have chosen not to leave. Some of them did leave, some of them are in our shelters, but many have families and elderly people and children within their communities and do not want to leave.
We were hearing a little earlier in the day from the Norwegian Refugee Council and the head, Jan Eggelen, was talking and saying that he thought what was going on, this displacement of people, was a war crime. Is that a phrase that you would repeat, that you think is correct here or incorrect?
What we're seeing is an unprecedented situation in Gaza, even though Gaza has witnessed many conflicts and a blockade that has completely suffocated it. What we are seeing is us, our colleagues, UN people, unable to provide protection and assistance for those who are in our own shelters in the north of Gaza. My colleagues are speaking about a displacement that is reminiscent to the original displacement of Palestinians in 1948. This is very big. And to ask 1 million people to move within a few hours is really mind-boggling.
Well, Tamara, we have to leave it there, but thanks for joining us here on BBC News. You're there in Jordan, but thanks for talking to us and describing what your colleagues are saying to you.